Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
No. I think she died because she had 1,000 plastic surgeries, but...
Yeah, she was going under.
Yeah.
Just these big black arms coming over. Big Mike.
Bro.
Blame gender for her surrender. This week, Michelle Obama scolded female Trump supporters in front of an audience at a business conference in Boston, a city in Massachusetts. She said the former First Lady, quote, "Any woman who voted against Hillary Clinton voted..."
Forget about those nice fairy tale stories and fancy speeches you hear on TV. Michelle Obama just ran into two funny guys who make jokes, Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld. What happened next wasn't just making fun of her, it was like getting a big wake-up call with loudspeakers all around. They made fun of how rich and fancy she acts, her perfect photo shoots, and how she's always telling people to eat vegetables. They were really sharp and mean with their jokes and didn't hold back. No sparkles, no being nice. Just a really harsh put down that made the former First Lady look wobbly like a wet vegetable garden at the White House.
Obama did it, where he repeated that lie about Donald Trump talking about white supremacists, saying they're very fine people on both sides. Let's play it.
Said that there were very fine people on both sides of a white supremacist rally. You had some very fine people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
That's crazy. I have never seen that last part.
Will the Dems ever win again? As long as they keep hating men. Our video of the day is a 2-for-1 man-hater special. First up, Michelle trashes dudes while urging women to act more like them.
Always hedging, you know, because in the back of our minds, we weren't raised with the certainty of maleness that, you know, kind of the confidence that young men in their 30s.
If you like this video, please make sure to follow our channel and ring the bell. Michelle Obama has somehow been able to spend the last 10 years being famous in a way that's less about what she actually did and more about fancy marketing that tries to look good. She's made kale into something political, turned her dance moves into a way to make rules, and turned her inspiring quotes into a huge media business. At this point, she's just one inspiring post on Instagram away from selling bottles of air that she calls hope.
Michelle thinks American men suck.
Let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage. To the women listening, we have every right to demand that the men in our lives do better by us.
What's that pitter-patter sound I'm hearing in the background? It's the footsteps of Barack running to vote for Trump.
Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld didn't just make fun of her, they held up a mirror to show the shiny to perfect Michelle Obama brand and asked the most awkward question ever. What exactly has she done lately, other than complain about how hard it was to be loved by the news people while living in a mansion that taxpayers paid for?
She had her kids. Were they private or public? Like, when he was a senator?
I don't know. I just know
Like,
that
he was a senator, right?
yes,
Before he became president.
for sure. I don't.
Law school,
yeah.
Senate.
I have no issue because I want to live. I have no issue with Big Mike. I don't care that they killed that sex slave, Martha's Vineyard. That's what happens with sex slaves. They drown in pond. That's what happens. You fuck the ruling class, you drown a pond. That's what happens. If you get your little mouthy, you go into the pond. I don't have a problem with it. I have no problem. I think it's good. I actually think it's good. I think it makes our country fun. I think it makes us unique. I think Putin and them are scared of that shit.
They do it all the time.
I think Putin and the Chinese are like, you don't know what's going on there, because they got people that maybe they're men, maybe they're women, we don't know. I think it.
Let's be honest here. Michelle's biggest thing she did after leaving the White House is making sure we all know vegetables exist. She started a huge fight against school lunches like cafeteria pizza was the country's worst enemy. Meanwhile, kids All across America cried into their weird grain food, hoping and praying for salt to come back. While world leaders were messing up during big problems around the world, Michelle was making kids cry over sweet potatoes and carrot sticks.
Obama surprised fans on our new podcast by saying her pet peeve about her husband is that he's chronically late. For example, we're still waiting on him to admit he's from Kenya. And as for Barack's pet peeve about Michelle, he's mad that she keeps leaving the toilet seat up. When she cleans it.
Rogan naturally focused on this story with really sarcastic jokes. To him, Michelle isn't a real political person. She's like a motivational speech with arms and legs. She floats around in culture, giving out feel-good quotes while carefully avoiding anything that needs real bravery. It's all about her brand, with no real strength. And the moment someone questions her story, her supporters come out like she just cured cancer using kale and a jump rope.
Having a good time. The country's almost back to normal before World War III. COVID was just so strange. We lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. Yeah. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy.
And Greg Gutfeld, of course, had no time for the fake stuff. He pointed out how weird it is that Michelle always acts like she doesn't want to be a public person. Nothing says I just want a normal life like multi-million-dollar Netflix deals, sold-out huge concerts, and a book with more advertising than a superhero movie. She's the only person in America who says she hates politics while casually hinting she wants to be president between podcast episodes. She wants it both ways, to be above the drama but still worshipped, out of politics but always political. A regular citizen, but with bodyguards and a media team that could compete with the Pentagons. Michelle has turned staying neutral in public into a form of quiet campaigning. Here's someone who lectures America about unfairness from a throne built on Netflix money, book deals, and paid speeches that cost more than some people make in a whole year. She talks about struggling with the same realness as a fancy grocery store commercial. Michelle's version of hard times is realizing the fancy lettuce was slightly old on her private jet.
What does it mean for us as women that we look at those two candidates? Many of us said, that guy, he's better for me. His voice is more true to me. Well, to me, that just says you don't like your voice. You like the thing you're told to like. I don't get this. No one likes their own voice. Have you ever listened to your own voicemail? It is horrifying.
Greg Gutfeld wasn't impressed with her polished complaining routine either. She spent more time whining about how hard it was to be first lady than some people spend working 3 jobs. And here's the funny part. She was loved. The news people adored her. Late-night TV hosts practically bowed down to her. The public went crazy for her. She could have fallen over on stage and fashion magazines would have called it a graceful statement about gravity, but instead of admitting any of that, Michelle's still acting like she was sent away to political prison with nothing but a salad maker and a dream. The constant victim story from someone who was given a golden stage and used it to lecture America on school lunches is not just crazy, it's insulting. There are struggling writers living in basements who've written whole book series about trauma that never got so much as a local book club invitation. Meanwhile, Michelle's out here publishing her feelings like they're secret documents from a war.
I'm a gay, needing attention over an old letter. What? I should read that again. Anyway, no, we'll just keep going. The New York Post obtained a redacted portion of a handwritten letter the former president sent to his then-college girlfriend, Alex McNear. Alex, eh? Back in 1982. He talked about his, quote, androgynous mind and wrote, and I'm quoting Obama here, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination.
Rogan laughed at how weird it is that a woman who spent years in the public eye insists she wants privacy right before signing another multi-million-dollar media deal. The woman's privacy is like a money-making machine. She made money from being mysterious. She could probably sell a blank notebook and call it My Private Secrets, and it would hit #1 on the charts before lunch. Greg didn't let the unfair treatment slide either. Michelle gets to say the most boring recycled lines about unity and hope, and people react like she solved the Middle East crisis using yoga and nice-smelling oils. Meanwhile, anyone whose conservative sneezes in the wrong direction and ends up trending on Twitter with people calling them fascists. It's all fake and it's packaged so perfectly you almost forget that under all the glow, there's almost nothing real. Michelle's idea of taking bold stands is liking a slightly political tweet or telling a podcast audience that things are complicated. No details, no real plans, just feelings that have been tested and approved by studios. She's like a horoscope for politics, vague, safe, and guaranteed to please half the room while putting the rest asleep.
Saying that Michelle Obama should run for president. If she won, she could pull her cock out and China would just give up. I was fucking wheezing. I couldn't breathe.
Big Mike. Big Mike. Big Mike.
It's like, come on, tell me it isn't one of the fun things about the internet.
Of course.
These
Oh, yeah.
crazy
So fun.
conspiracies are fun.
We had a cab driver on the way back from like 50 Chicks or something, and he goes halfway back. He goes, "Hey, Dixie Chicks." Yeah. He goes, "Where do you guys get your news?"
You know, just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender. And that's, you know, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man. You know.
And when it comes to politics, she's always just on the edge, never fully in, but never fully out. Just enough to make headlines, never enough to take a risk. She wants people to love her without having to do anything, wants applause without being responsible for anything. It's like playing dress up as a leader. And the costume changes with every speaking fee. Greg pointed out how crazy it is that Michelle's every word gets treated like it's from the Bible. She could tweet drink water and CNN would run breaking news about it. The woman has turned common sense into a business empire, and the scariest part, people eat it up, like it's revolutionary. Greg, meanwhile, reminded everyone that Michelle's political legacy, when you take away the documentaries and book tours, mostly involves making cafeteria food slightly more sad. That's it. No amazing reform, no big initiative, just more celery, sticks and less ketchup, and somehow, she walked out of the White House with more praise than people who actually pass laws. She's the only first lady who left office and gained more political power. Not by doing anything new, but by doing less, better, a few safe speeches, a killer fashion person, and the ability to avoid saying anything remotely decisive. If that's the new standard, the bar isn't low. It's buried underground with the last remaining copies of her husband's stimulus plan.
Divorce rumors continue to escalate for the Obamas. Hopefully they can settle it like men. Terrible that you would applaud that.
Rogan called it what it is, political performance art. Michelle Obama is the main act at the world's longest motivational speech, and America's just politely clapping while trying to figure out if anything's actually being said. She's the queen of sounding meaningful without telling us anything. You feel moved, but you don't know why. Gutfeld went even further. He called out the media machine that continues to build shrines to her every Instagram post. She could post a blurry picture of her dog and it would get analyzed like it contained clues to foreign policy strategy. Meanwhile, anyone else who tries to be real gets accused of being unpolished or unqualified. The unfair treatment is laughable, but the result is worse. And like all influencers, she's more product than person at this point. Her biggest moments are polished, pre-approved, and safely uncontroversial. No tough positions, no uncomfortable truths, just vague, caring, and fashionable concern. And somehow we're supposed to pretend this is leadership. It's not, it's theater.
Joe Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady, you're rich as... Like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, you know, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed. Like, you have so much money.
Take more than they need. Obama, 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about rich people.
Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld didn't just destroy the myth, they peeled it apart piece by piece. They laughed at the contradictions, the fake stuff. The cult-like devotion to someone who's done nothing politically bold in 10 years. It wasn't mean. It was necessary because someone has to say it, behind the branding. Michelle Obama is just another rich person coasting on the fumes of nostalgia and soft-focused documentaries, and still the show goes on. The lighting stays soft, the messaging stays vague, the praise stays loud, but now the cracks are visible. Because once the shine wears off, all that's left is the record. And it's thinner than a cafeteria kale chip. And just when you thought Michelle couldn't top the pedestal she built for herself, bam! It's performance art at this point. She's the only person who can wear a designer pantsuit, fly private, and still manage to call herself a voice for the oppressed with a straight face.
Even if they run Michelle. According to a new poll, Michelle Obama isn't as strong a Democratic candidate against former President Donald Trump as many Dems would have you believe. In a hypothetical matchup, my favorite kind, Trump wins with 47% of the vote, compared to Michelle Obama's 44%. I guess some of the kids whose school lunches she ruined are finally old enough to vote.
Meanwhile, Joe Rogan's laughing because he's seen Wild Elk more down to earth than Michelle's post-white house change, and Greg Gutfeld, he's still wiping tears from his eyes, not from emotion, but from the pure comedy of Michelle complaining about how hard it is to be famous while sitting under studio lights being paid millions to complain. The woman has mastered the art of being iconic for existing. She doesn't even need to say anything anymore. She just walks into a room, raises an eyebrow, and boom, another motivational speech-worthy headline. The media applauds like she just discovered fire. And then she tells the country to eat more vegetables while posing with a $2,000 fancy burger and truffle fries behind the scenes. The difference between her message and reality isn't just ironic. It's Olympic-level gymnastics somewhere out there. Michelle's probably planning a lecture tour on being humble with front row seats priced at $1.200 each. But don't worry, it includes a free bookmark and a guilt trip about your grocery choices. And that's where it ends for now. And thanks to Joe and Greg ripping the shiny cover off this best-selling illusion, the world is finally starting to read the fine print. Stay tuned because this train wreck of polished perfection isn't slowing down. It's just changing wardrobes.